I am Johnny Massacre and welcome to my world. May your stay here be interesting. Tonight, the UK has its very own Donald Trump and his name is Rupert Lowe. Who is with me? Give me a hell yeah! So, Rupert Lowe is a name that probably many of our American viewers might not be familiar with, and if you're not, I would like to familiarize yourselves with this guy because this guy is the true opposition to the woke progressive blob in the United Kingdom. He's the only political figure out there who actually says the right things, who is a true libertarian, who talks common sense relentless common sense from the man like Mr. Lowe. And if you are familiar with the guy, this podcast is going to be a bit of a recap about what he is all about. But he is a very important figure in British politics, and his star is only continuing to rise as the nights go by. So Rupert Lowe is the MP for Great Yarmouth, and he's the former chairman of Southampton FC. It's a British football club. His net worth is estimated at around £30 million, and he donates his salary to local causes. Sound familiar? Donald Trump donates his own salary. Donald Trump is also wealthy, so it's more difficult to buy this guy out, making him much more trustworthy as a politician. So let's get to know Rupert Lowe, shall we? I think this is a great introduction. How cool is this? So the police actually seized Rupert Lowe's gun collection, which actually enhances his image, in my view. I think that's completely awesome. The guy has a gun collection, bruv. Check this out. So not only did the cops seize his gun collection, but they seized a wheelbarrow full of guns from his house. This is the most British headline ever. A wheelbarrow. Do you even call it a wheelbarrow in the United States? Anyways, the transportation device known as a wheelbarrow in the UK betrays Rupert Lowe's agricultural history. So this guy, he actually was in charge of agriculture for Reform UK, the fastest rising political party in the United Kingdom right now, before he was booted out of that political party. He has a history of farming and agriculture and owns a few farms himself. He has a big gun collection, therefore, because farm owners often have guns. And when he was unceremoniously outed from the Reform UK party under accusations of physical threats, the cops went to his house and seized a wheelbarrow full of guns. So this guy is bringing the Second Amendment back to is bringing it to the United Kingdom. So you know this guy's a badass if he's got his own gun collection. I think that's a pretty good introduction to Rupert Lowe. Now, Rupert Lowe has started what is known as Restore Britain. So Restore Britain is a policy platform and a movement. It's not a political party, unfortunately, but it's a policy platform and a movement. It's essentially this guy's brand, and he created it to create a community of libertarians in the UK who are sick of hard leftist progressive woke BS and who want to come together and push back against the woke blob. That is Restore UK. And if you want an introduction to the UK's Trump, look no further than this post from Restore Britain, not Restore UK, Restore Britain on X. And it says the only acceptable illegal migrant swap deal is none in, all out. This is the UK's Trump. He's being painted as far right, of course, by the establishment and extreme. But actually, this guy's policies are mainstream in the United States of America and are what the majority of Americans voted for. He is zero tolerance, Rupert Lowe, the UK's very own Trump, on migration. He says none in, all out regarding illegals. So that gives you a pretty good introduction to what this man is all about by his movement Restore Britain. Here he is. That's a picture of him, and this is the Restore Britain website. He says it's a movement for those who believe that we need to fundamentally change the way Britain is governed. It's a movement. It's not a political party. and he encourages people from all political parties to join up and fund them. Now, I love this paragraph that he obviously wrote himself describing his movement, Restore Britain. He says, "I do not have all the answers. I'm not a politician. I find myself in Parliament, independent and isolated, without a party. But strangely, during my time in politics, I've never felt more part of a team. There are good, talented, dedicated people all over the country who are tired of petty Westminster politics. Now is not the time for another political party. It's our job to bring people together, providing a vehicle that can deliver the radical restoration that is required. But I need your help." This is great when he describes his belief system. He says, "Low tax, small state, / immigration, protect British culture, restore Christian principles." And I love this. "Carpet bomb the cancer of wokery. Hell yeah. Fight lawfare, empower individual enterprise, and plenty more. We will provide substance, detail, and a plan." So this is this guy's movement, and he's the only true opposition in the United Kingdom. Now, this guy was an MP for Reform UK. Reform was supposed to be the opposition to the Uniparty in the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom had more than a decade of supposed conservative leadership, but they flirted with woke policies like green energy, communism. More migrants came in under them than even the leftist Labour Party previously, who started this immigrant invasion. And so Reform UK was supposed to be the answer to all of that. But then in recent times, Nigel Farage, who is the head of Reform UK and is projected to be the next UK Prime Minister, has been changing his stance on immigration, saying things like, we can't do big mass-scale deportations and we have to appease the Muslim voting bloc. And so once again, the UK is staring at a one-party system. Regardless of who you vote for, you get the same BS policies that you don't want. Rupert Lowe was part of Reform UK, but he was unceremoniously kicked out, and they accused him of physically intimidating some of their employees, which further adds to the conspiracy, which I think is true, that the UK is governed by a permanent uniparty, one-party state that aligns with the UN and EU ideology. Someone like Rupert Lowe, who's a true opposition, can't be part of Reform. That makes Reform look rather bad indeed, for want of a better expression. So Rupert Lowe, having been kicked out of Reform UK, is now an independent in the UK government, in Parliament. Before, he was one of 5 seats for Reform UK, and when he's kicked out, now he's just an independent. So he wants to exert some kind of influence, and to do that, he started Restore Britain. I'm not sure how I feel about this, because really, if the UK is to sort itself out, in my personal opinion, Rupert Lowe needs to be Prime Minister. He is on the money with every single policy, every single one. It's like it came out of Trump's mouth. But let's not diminish this guy's stature by just calling him a British Donald Trump. He's his own man. I think he's cut from the same cloth as Donald Trump. He's dignified. He's a libertarian, and he cares about his country. And I just think he aligns with Donald Trump. Whether Donald Trump existed or not, I think this guy would still be making the same kind of comments and pushing for the same things. And so I really want to see this guy in power. But considering Reform are projected to get into power next by all polls, unless this guy heads Reform, he's not going to be the Prime Minister of England. And even if he did head Reform, Nigel Farage will be the Prime Minister of England, which is their pick. So the only other possibility we have for this guy, who in my opinion is the true opposition in the UK to the woke blob, of getting into power, is him starting his own political party. It's not impossible, because Reform came out of nowhere and are now projected to win the next general election. But I think if Rupert Lowe was to start his own party, it would cannibalise the votes that are set aside for Reform so much that the same thing will happen that happened in the last general election, which is a hard leftist government will get into power, not because they're actually not because they represent the majority of the English people, but because the English people are so disillusioned with British politics, and the vote is so split that a party will get into power who's not very popular just because people didn't vote for anyone else, as opposed to voting for them in large numbers. If Rupert Lowe started his own party, you might get the same thing. A leftist government will win because the vote is split between his party and Reform. So UK's in a bad state, but at least we have this guy who's constantly posting on X and is creating this very powerful movement known as Restore Britain. On the flip side, if it's not a political party, you'd have to say its longevity might be bolstered somewhat. Political parties can get fractured, as you've just seen with Reform UK. And as soon as they become an official party, they have donors and whatnot, and they can become compromised and beholden to their investors. But I think Restore Britain not being a political party, you could say, in a way, it could have a longer shelf life, and perhaps it won't be subjected to the same scrutiny and lawfare and devices that a political party would. So Rupert Lowe, he is the true opposition in the UK, and I love this guy. Now, one of the reasons this guy is so important is because he's acting as a shield to the UK public by pushing the boundaries of what the leftist system deem as acceptable. By that I mean, in the UK, you can be arrested for things you say online, unlike the United States of America. If you say things that people claim stress them out, or if you say things that could be deemed as hate speech. Rupert Lowe, knowing that he's a politician, constantly says things which the average person could be arrested for under the guise of hate speech, knowing that he's not going to be arrested for it, making it more acceptable to say these things in the United Kingdom, and essentially helping free speech in general. So there was a guy who put a sign on his store in the UK, for example, that said, "Due to scumbags shoplifting, please ask for assistance to open the cabinets." And this guy was contacted by police officers in Wrexham because they said his sign was provocative. You see this a lot in these countries that are captured by the globalists, Australia and Canada. I'm looking at you. They always seek to prosecute the people defending themselves from crimes as opposed to people committing the crimes. That's how you know the country has been compromised by the globalist NGOs and WEF bureaucrats. So this guy is getting investigated for defending his shop and calling people who try to steal from his shop scumbags. He's getting investigated. So Rupert Lowe acts as a shield for people like that. He posted this on X. He said, "Shoplifters are scumbags," knowing that the police aren't going to arrest him because he's too high profile, therefore making it less likely that the guy who actually wrote that sign is going to be arrested. So Rupert Lowe is a voice for the people. He's defending people's speech or claims to free speech that the UK is wrestling with right now, not having any fundamental free speech laws. So Rupert Lowe is very, very important, even though he might not end up being Prime Minister, and I wish he would. He's doing his bit by protecting the UK people and helping to kind of carve out free speech within a system that's amorphous and purposefully vague, so they can prosecute anyone essentially that they don't like for hearty words. So isn't that great? Rupert Lowe doing God's work there, helping people out with his X posts. So other things that can get you in trouble in the UK is pointing out facts and statistics regarding crime, especially regarding actual, say, assault. So, for example, in England and Wales, from 2002 to the current day, here are actual, say, assault figures. You can see around 2016, the ape ray or grape offences started to skyrocket and have basically quadrupled from 2011 coming into 2025. Gee, I wonder why that is. If you even dare to speculate, you could end up getting jailed for hate speech. But the reality is, if you look at the actual, say, assault by nationality, according to the Centre for Migration Control, per 10,000 people, only 2.66 native British commit those kind of crimes, but you have 59 Afghanis who commit those crimes. So these are kind of stats, again, that the establishment might investigate you for even mentioning in public. Rupert Lowe, the UK's answer to Donald Trump, comes to the rescue again. He posted this on X on August the 11th, just 2 days ago. He said, he said it, don't shoot the messenger. He said, not all cultures are equal. In fact, many are backward, misogynistic, violent, rude, hateful, and downright disrespectful. We don't need that in our country. Let's stop importing it legally and illegally. He said that if it's proven that men from one nationality disproportionately commit rape and actual, say, assault, then let's just stop industrially importing men from said nationality. This really is not a complicated idea. So because he said that in public, and he's obviously not going to be arrested because he's so high profile, and there'd be such an uproar because it's indefensible to arrest someone for saying something so benign and truthful, he's defending all the people online in England who also want to raise similar concerns, who otherwise might be prosecuted for doing exactly what he's done. So Rupert Lowe gets shit done, y'all. He actually makes a difference. I can't really see Nigel Farage, who's the leader of Reform, actually making much of a difference in anything he's done. The only person who I've ever seen make a difference in UK politics in recent times in the fight against the woke blob is Rupert Lowe. Right there in those posts, he's helping people out. He's also the MP in Parliament who's constantly chipped away at the system, trying to get them to release statistics regarding crimes and migration and stuff like that. He's the only one doing it. And like I said, his takes on current day politics are just on the money if you're a libertarian. Once again, they're trying to paint him as hard right, but he really isn't. He's just, for me, he's just a libertarian and a centrist. He doesn't want illegal people to come to the country. In the same way, I don't know, you might not want an illegal random person you don't know from a war-torn country of military age and fighting age to come into your house randomly. Lots of people, using the same logic, don't want those sorts of people coming into their country. Rupert Lowe saying that, according to the establishment in the UK, makes him hard right or far right. I don't think so. I think that just shows you how much the Overton window has shifted in recent times, or has appeared to shift through funding from various NGOs and vested interests and stuff like that. So Rupert Lowe is someone you really want to follow on X. If you want to stay up to date with UK politics and actually read an opinion from someone who can and is making a difference in the UK government, it is Rupert Lowe. So follow him at Rupert Lowe 10, that's the number 10, on X to stay up to date. So Rupert Lowe giving his opinion on various things helps protect the public from voicing their own opinions on such matters. For example, did you see that video recently on the train in the UK? Some guy took his pants down, and then members of the UK public accosted him and incapacitated him. And now the police are investigating the people who protected everyone on the train from this half-naked, ranting, psychopathic man in echoes of the Daniel Penny incident. Rupert Lowe gave his opinion on that. Let's look at the incident before we see Rupert Lowe defending the UK populace's free speech. So here is a crazed, pantless man on the train in the UK the other day who was taken down by UK patriots.
Yo, you need to get off the fucking train, bro. Fuck off! You need to get off. Fuck off! You need to get off the fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off! What do you mean fuck off? Fuck off! You need to get off the fucking train, mate. There's fucking kids.
So we got a UK patriot, if you're listening and not watching, who are confronting this man on the train who's pulled his pants down and his underwear and is just naked in broad daylight on the train. And the people accosting him are arguing that there's children on the train, and now they're holding him down, and they're essentially conducting a citizen's arrest. These guys are basically heroes, and this is what you want. If people are going to self-police, then all the better. I mean, the state got that for free. They took out a guy who's naked on a train in public in broad daylight. So, of course, the British establishment have gone after these patriots, and now they're facing arrest. According to the Daily Mail, vigilante tube passengers face arrest over assault of naked man on the tube after they took law into their hands when he dropped his trousers on a packed carriage. And if you criticize this online, you might be arrested for hate speech in the UK. But Rupert Lowe is defending people's speech in the UK by merely posting a response to this incident on X. Rupert said, We need to give far greater legal protection to those brave men and women who tackle threats in their homes, on the streets, or even on public transport. If some lunatic is harassing someone on a bus, threatening violence and God knows what else, and a bystander or two tackles him to the ground and apprehends him until the police arrive, good on them, I say. So his takes on every single cultural moment are bang on. It's such a shame that he was booted out of Reform UK, the party who's projected to win the next UK general election. But I think them booting him out tells you everything you need to know about Reform UK. If you were expecting a true opposition that Donald Trump represents, you're not going to get it from Reform. So we need to find a way for this guy to become prime minister. Essentially, it's not going to happen because Reform will never let him back in because he's criticised them so heavily. And I can't see him creating a new political party in time. If he were going to do that, he would have done it already, and he wouldn't have created Restore Britain, a policy platform and a movement, but not a political party. Nevertheless, he's making a difference, and I suggest to follow him. And the more followers he has, the harder it's going to be for the establishment to sweep these things under the rug, and he's going to keep other political parties in check by shaping the culture and shaping public opinion. So God bless Rupert Lowe. He reposted this post from Member of Parliament James McDermott, who said, "We cannot have a society where people are too afraid of the law to trust and act on their instincts. We must be free to protect ourselves and take reasonable action against threats or causes of distress." Well done, those men on the train who accosted that psychopath. Everyone who has seen the video supports you. Rupert Lowe reposting that. So thank God for the man like Rupert Lowe. Here he is on X. His banner is his political movement, Restore Britain. I'm sure he's transporting his wheelbarrow full of guns between his farms right now. Great Yarmouth, Member of Parliament, ex-Southampton Football Club chairman, businessman, farmer. See, and you know this guy, if he were in the UK government, if he were the Prime Minister, he would restore the farmers to their former glories. 6,000 plus have shut down since Labour came into power and taxed them in line with globalist standards, centralising food production in the UK. This guy, just go through his X account. This guy is the opposition in the UK. Every single one of his posts is just majestic. I'll just read a bunch of them for you. You're going to love them. He says, no public sector institutions should serve halal meat. He says, I make no apologies for saying that we should not be paying hundreds of thousands of indolent foreigners to sit on benefits. They should go home. That's not racist. That's common sense. He says, mass deportation of every single illegal migrant is the morally right thing to do. Excellent. He says, reverse mass immigration. It's the only way. This is excellent. So he's trying to shift the Overton window. And as long as his posts on X are visible, I think he's actually going to do it. I really think it's going to be really interesting following this guy because no one can compete with him. Reform UK is kowtowing to the Muslim voting bloc by their own admission. If you watch the last episode of Johnny Massacre's World, episode 819, you will see evidence of that. And so this guy, who's the only guy who's telling it how it is, he's going to pick up more traction. And he's going to shape the culture more than anyone else because it's really truth-seeking and it's not compromised at all. For example, he says here, 12 hours ago, I'll say it again, legal immigration is a bigger problem than illegal immigration. This guy represents what the native British people want. I promise you that. So ignore what they say about him being hard right and far right and all this kind of stuff. The fact is, we've had hard leftist policies rammed down upon the UK people for the last 25, 30 years. Which are extreme in and of themselves, but have been carried out by degrees. So you basically didn't notice them and you got used to them. So to reverse all of that, those extremities of 30 years within a short space of time is going to look extreme, but actually it's just remedying what's like a slow burn extremity for a long time. So actually he's not extreme. It's the stuff he's railing against that's extreme, in my opinion. So this guy is the man. Against the climate change scare BS, he says it gets hot in the summer for whoever needs to hear it. True. You're seeing all this scaremongering in the UK, saying how UK is going to be under this heat wave and all this. It's 32 degrees. It's 32 degrees every day out here in Japan, and it is every summer, and no one says it's going to be the end of the world. He is the man. Let's listen to him if you want to hear some of his points verbally.
We are bankrupt, and what we don't seem to understand is we're no longer the global power we were. What we need to do is retrench, start to rebuild ourselves, and actually start to make everything make sense again. And until we do that, I think we're on a very, very bad course, and we will end up hitting the rocks.
I wouldn't say he's wrong. I really wouldn't. So, Rupert Lowe, the true opposition in the UK. But ironically, he doesn't have a political party right now. Such is the sorry state of affairs in the United States. In the United Kingdom, sorry. So, the United Kingdom is suffering. There is an exodus of millionaires due to socialist policies perpetrated by the current government. So, check this out. According to New World Wealth, accessed via Henley and Partners, the UK has the largest exodus of millionaires in the world today. They say global millionaire migration in 2025 has United Arab Emirates at the top of the list, with 9,800 millionaires migrating to the United Arab Emirates. In second place is the United States, with 7,500 millionaires migrating to the United States. The United Kingdom has the biggest net loss of millionaires. It has more than double the net loss of China, which has the second highest exodus of millionaires. The United Kingdom lost 16,500 millionaires in 2025 and is projected to lose that. That's how screwed the UK is right now. And it's hard to watch as a Brit. But that's just the way it is. So I'm down with Rupert Lowe, y'all. I'm down with Rupert Lowe. And he's the one that I will read first on X before anybody else. I'm Johnny Massacre. And if you're just joining us, we are discussing the true UK opposition to the woke left. A man who goes by the name of Rupert Lowe. If you don't know, get to know. But if you have been watching from the beginning, then stop your grinning and drop your linen. Donate some cash and let's keep winning. Streamlabs.com/Johnny Massacre, Patreon.com/Johnny Massacre, or PayPal.me/give me a hell yeah. You can donate on those links right now. I want to say big up to Pup and Yellow, who donated $40 just a few days ago. Super duper appreciate that. Bruv. I also want to say big up to the patrons, Steven Suarez with $5, Lauren Hughes with £2, Sir Jeffrey with $5. And then we had the man who will remain nameless, but you know who you are. Love you, bruv. You donated $150. Martin Rangecroft with £1, Jimmy Shorts $10, and Tom Christopoulos with $10. Also, big shout out to Lan Tran, who was extremely kind and donated $125, I believe. So that bar's filling up to $314. It's the 13th of August. We got about 14, 15, 60. Got about just over 2 weeks to go until the target of $2,000. Funds are not really flowing this month, so I really need your help. If I'm going to be able to pay the rent, keep the lights on, and basically keep making these shows, please consider donating. The more you donate, the harder I'm going to work for you, and the more of these shows you're going to get. So that is what is up, everybody. I hope you're well. I wonder what you lot are saying.
Milkitia makes ting says goddamn.
Goddamn, Milky in the house. How you doing, Milkster? Are you good? So we're gonna go on over to the cheeky live stream. It's like a virtual pub with mad British vibes where we hang out, and it's a little bit less formal than this. So come on over to the Clonk and Otter pub. We're going to have a lock in there and we will continue the fun. See you on over there in a second, Massacre mates. You're going to be automatically redirected. Cheers and good night.